Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, 4D. Good evening, Viv.
Good evening, 4D. Good evening, Bronze.
It is Thursday, the 9th of October, 2025. Storm and Teacup, episode 35.
Our greatest day to have. This day will possibly go down in history if it's as big as we all hope it's going to be with peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath. Someone's going to break the ceasefire.
Yeah,
as has happened previously. But yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, it's definitely it's a step in the right direction for sure. Let's see what happens.
It's going to be so mad, and people are going to scream so loud you'll hear it around the world if Trump gets the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, there's a lot of countries that have signed up to sort this situation out. It's not just, I think it's, and for them to make such a big thing of it as they have, I think this is a done deal. And before we started, I was frantically trying to find a way of doing a screenshot because, again, I wanted to point out the whole Q thing that I was into. But the Q post 916 or 916 from March the 10th to 2018, where they said they were saving Israel for last, and it does fill me with quite a bit of excitement that this is now in if the if you're in the queue following, and if you want to believe that this is the final move, and we've kind of think that we've heard the shot around the world and all other sort of bits that have come up, but the whole saving Israel for last was always very interesting to me.
It's a bit ambiguous, though, isn't it? What does it exactly mean? Saving Israel for what? For redemption, destruction? I don't know.
Well, if I pull up the actual post, what it was someone was asking about what's the name? Whatever happened to the Pakistani guy who worked with the DNC? The president asked for an interview. Blah 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 blah. It was about that was it. The Awan, AWAN, which is a tribe, a group, mainly in the Punjabi areas of Pakistan. So the question was, what about Awan? Was he involved in? Were they involved in Israel? And it was just this answer: we're saving Israel for last. Very specific reason, not mentioned a single time. Q. That doesn't answer your question, but that's what the post was in reference to.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Viv says, it is very vague. I mean, just using the term Israel, because it's like the thing which really gets on my nerves. Everyone is talking. Everyone seems to lump Israel and the Jews and Zionists all into one bag, and the whole thing is the enemy for anyone against it, and that's just not the case. You can't be. I mean, you can be critical of Netanyahu, absolutely, and the Israeli government. You can absolutely be critical of them, but you can't be critical of your everyday law-abiding Jewish person, which is which is also a massive problem with all this pro-Palestine stuff which has been going on. So yeah, so when they say Israel, when Q says Israel, what exactly does he mean? It's all a bit too vague, and also the term not mentioned a single time. I mean, that post was a few years ago. It may well have been mentioned quite often since then. We still don't know what he meant by that. So who knows?
Yeah, good point. However, it wasn't ever mentioned again. So that post was.
You don't know that. You don't know.
Yeah,
when it was posted, it wasn't mentioned a single time. But people digging into it and speculating and doing all the analysis of the stuff.
Just from Q drops points of view, that it was never mentioned again in the Q drops.
Oh right, gotcha. Yeah.
So it was like that was actually the only post, whatever it was, 916, where it was actually ever even mentioned. Yeah, anyway, I just it's a very interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, Nobel Peace Prize would be very funny, as Viv says. It would you'd see people's heads exploding on CNN and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, that would be a. I think that it wouldn't really hold much water, really, considering they gave it to Obama when he did bugger all as soon as he got into office. It's like, why did you give Obama the Peace Prize? What's he done? He hasn't done anything. So
Yeah, but you're missing the point. It would mean everything to those damn lefties. It would just give them
that's what I'm saying. It would just be. It wouldn't, I mean, in real terms, it wouldn't really be that significant. But in terms of just triggering all the lunatics, yeah, of course, it would just explode. It would explode the internet, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't think that's really, that significant. That's what I'm saying. Whether he got it or not, the fact that if he did manage to bring about peace, that would be the real thing about it.
Yeah, if it's genuine peace, for sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and this is, I suppose that's the part to put out there, is that this is a military lay down of arms. So from a militaristic point of view, the war is over. That doesn't mean that you won't, for possibly a couple of months, still have quite significant losses, significant bombings. It's very hard when to describe to a civilian, to civilians, how the end of a war is signified. But yes, there will still be pockets of people, generals, that think they're some lone star. There will still be people that don't know, and you will still get some death and destruction. But it doesn't mean that the peace talks have broke down. As we talk right now, the peace deal has been signed. They have said they're going to lay their arms down. They're not going to have anything to do with government. Yada 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 yada. That, and from the military, they've said, yeah, okay, we're stopping. So it is only things will still happen, I'm afraid.
Well, they've announced a ceasefire, haven't they? I don't know when it actually goes into effect, but that's what I understood.
I was literally just watching. I suppose I shouldn't interrupt, actually, because I don't know what it meant, but I was listening to 2CTV Live, and it did sound like it had been finalised, but don't quote me on that then.
Yeah, I mean, but they've had ceasefires before and they've been broken. Which side has broken them is, depends on which information you decide to adopt as the truth. But it looks like both sides could have been guilty on that count. So
absolutely. Yeah, true.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. What I don't like about all that is, one of the many things, apart from the dislike of war, is that there's collective punishment on both sides, which is not good. They're just indiscriminately targeting everyone on the other side. And let's not forget that in Palestine there are a lot of Christians as well, and so it's not, it's not simply Muslims against Jews. There's a struggle for land as well, and safety. Both sides want safety. All humans want safety, but there's this element that wants the destruction of Israel.
Oh yeah,
which is disturbing.
Well, yes. I mean, one of the hypocrisies you can point out from the pro-Palestine stuff is that they're constantly banging on about a genocide in Gaza by the Israelis, but then in the same breath they shout from the river to the sea, and it's like, when you think about what that means, from the river, that means from the River Jordan to the sea, to the Mediterranean, they say Palestine will be free. So that is essentially saying that is the eradication of the state of Israel. So is that not a genocide as well?
Yeah, look, 98%, 99% of the people out there chatting don't have a clue what they're talking about. They're so lost in their world on their phone. They just listen. They're grazing on this news all day. That's complete bollocks. And they haven't got the brain power to look into anything. Even when I talk to you guys, I tend not to say much about the whole Israel and Palestine and all of it, because I don't really, even with my background, I don't really know enough about it to to want to chant for either side. And I do. Most of what we see out there is just ridiculous. They don't know what they're cheering for or against.
Yeah, I mean, what's concerning is the sheer so at the moment it seems the vociferation of the protests going on. They are really just it's bordering on lunacy, and they are fully committed to these protests. And I mean, like you 4D, I think all three of us are of the position where we don't really, we're not falling on either side of this argument. But it does seem that the anti-Jewish sentiment, which is open now, which is open on the streets, and seems to be almost acceptable in this country at least, is shocking. It is shocking because it's not about being anti-Jewish. You can be anti-Israel. You can be anti-Israel. You can be anti-Netanyahu. Okay, there's a case for that. But just to be anti-Jewish, it's like, who were the last people who were anti-Jewish, who persecuted the Jews? And these same people are the ones calling everybody who opposes them Nazis. It's like, they really don't get it. They just don't see it.
No, yeah,
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I want to say something about genocide. Now it's been thrown around that people are committing genocide, people are committing pogroms, etc. These are actual terms, but they've been twisted. There is a genocide going on in Nigeria.
Yeah, Christian genocide. Absolutely. I was going to mention.
You don't hear about this. You don't hear about this. This year alone, okay, 7,000 Christians have been targeted and killed in Nigeria. This year, it's been 100. It's been 100,000 in the last 25 years, and 18,000 Christian churches have been burned or destroyed.
Well, this really highlights exactly the hypocrisy of it all, because there are atrocities going on all over the world, and they cherry pick the ones, and they cherry pick this one in Gaza, and it's not necessarily because there's a genocide going on, because there are genocides happening all over the place, but they pick this one, and you think, why are they picking this one? It's because they hate Jews. That for me, that's the bottom line of it.
It does seem very odd, doesn't it? I mean, it does seem a bit odd. It does seem a bit odd.
Yeah.
But
I think we're forced. I think we're forced to turn our gaze to where they want the problem area to be at that point. And again, when I say they, I'm referring to the sort of people that are in charge of us that we don't realise that are in charge of us, not the governments, whoever's above governments. Because all of it's, I mean, we should have evolved past wars and grabbing land and your religion, my God is better than your God. We should have, where are the sci-fi films I was watching when I was a kid, we were sorting out flying cars and robots with we should have been beyond all this war crap by now.
I mean, in terms of the information or the propaganda being pushed upon us, the media is the mainstream media is fully to blame for that. The BBC, okay, for example, is, if ever you I don't watch or listen to the BBC. Occasionally I'll listen to Radio 3, okay, when I'm out and about in the car. And when they have news, I just noticed whenever they had a news bulletin, it would always lead with something about Gaza. That would be the first story. And it's like, there's other stuff going on. And they would constantly be pushing it. And they accept themselves. They even say they take these reports from from Hamas. This is like, what they are taking reports that Hamas are giving them and broadcasting them as news. And it's kind of like, my God, this is insane. You know, how can you, there's no integrity there anymore.
No. no.
So
I
yeah,
mean, I'm
the
not saying
media.
that. Yeah, it is. They're fascinated by that, aren't they? They're obsessed about it for some reason.
It's the agenda. They have the agenda, don't they?
Yeah, I know, I know. But it's not to say, I wonder how many Christians have fled from Nigeria and gone dinghies. I wonder how many.
I don't know. It doesn't seem we're getting a whole lot over here, to be honest.
That's right. That's right.
Not by dinghy, anyway.
No, no, no. Don't
So
know.
I see a school in Wales is in the newspapers at the moment for newspapers. Look at me, I'm old. On the internet at the moment because they, some, I think it was a 6-year-old had come home and said he was forced to learn about Islam and apparently this teacher had said to this class of 6-year-olds, look, you have to learn this because by the time you're your parents' age, this is going to be a Muslim country.
no, that wasn't.
Whoa.
No, they had a visit from a woman from a mosque who came in
A
and said
visit.
that.
Okay. Sorry.
And
Yeah.
so
Thanks.
and they complained about it, and rightly so. But yeah, it's just insane. So yeah, that kind of created a bit of a stir. But yeah, you can't have, yeah. And I mean, they're saying, yeah, you need to learn about this, you need to learn about that. But to have a woman come in and saying you're going to be praying on mats pretty soon, and
Yeah.
and by
Yeah.
the time you're 8, you're all going to be Islamic. It's like you can't have that. Sorry, no. This is a massive problem. This is a massive problem, and it's something has to be done about it. It really does. This whole the question of Islam in this country, in the West in general, I think is a really big problem, and it's not being addressed, and it really needs to be.
No.
This is a Christian country. I mean, I know people don't like people saying that, but
No, it
Yes,
is. It is. And I like you saying this. And as I've often said, I don't even believe in the same thing as you, but I still 100% agree that this is a Christian country. I believe in the Christian values. Yesterday, I was saying to someone, I'm even starting to realize why in the Bible, from my point of view, I don't mean this blasphemously, but the
no.
reason they added that was because marriage, because it's faithfulness, it's good, it's family orientated, it's the way humans are supposed to look after ourselves, and we don't need a government, we just need community, and I love Christianity, I love the values of it, and I love, even though I didn't really understand as a kid, and I was very anti-Christian. That's why I unfortunately dabbled with Satanism, but that's also why I have an insight into that side of the world, because I was a very mixed up kid. But what I mean by that is now in my here I am at 50. Oh God, I totally understand it. It's a great value system, and I've briefly looked at some of the other value systems because I don't believe in a particular God, but I find Christianity the most palatable for me and my country. Thank you.
Yeah, but all religions, when they're expropriated by states, they do change. I mean,
Yeah.
Christianity has been used for terrible deeds. Terrible deeds.
well, yeah, it's been captured. It's been captured in the institutional level, definitely.
We've got a bureaucrat as we spoke last week. New Archbishop of Canterbury she seems to be just a bureaucrat, a ladder climber.
She wouldn't be there if she wasn't, Viv. If
I
she
know.
was, and the previous one we had was I don't know much about this new woman, but
Welby.
was it
Yeah,
Welby? Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, just another woke idiot. So these people, you don't need, they may be the so-called head of the church, but nobody should be paying any attention to them.
No, of course not. Welby was a very, very confused and not particularly bright man, unfortunately. But he fitted the bill, so in he went. We don't need him, though. I don't need him. I just wish that they would just bloody stand up for certain values. Just keep the churches open, for example.
Well, yeah, but
Otherwise, what we're going to have to do, radical Christians, we're going to have to take over the churches, and they won't like that.
Well, this is exactly what would lead to that. The way things are going, this is what creates radicalism. I mean, you don't want radical anything.
No,
But
yeah.
but when people are ignored and even worse, to a certain extent persecuted, this is what happens. It creates that.
I agree, but I mean, and I use radical in the sense of its etymology, which means roots. So going back to your roots.
All right. Okay. All right.
In that sense, not just shouty, but if these people are, have they not noticed? Have the Church of England not noticed that the congregations are dropping? They're getting older and older, and then they come out with all this stuff. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's part of the plan, though, isn't it? It's obviously part of the plan, and anyone in any position of influence to do anything about it has been replaced by lackeys and puppets.
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's a sad state of affairs when someone like me, a non-believer, sounds like I'm fighting harder for a Christian revival than the actual people that run the Christian church. In fact, other than what's his name, Father Calvin Robinson, I love that bloke. He definitely represents a better United Kingdom, I think. But yeah, they're not fighting for what they believe in, for goodness sake.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not.
Well, they're being strong-armed into towing the line, aren't they? They're not. They're being essentially threatened. Do as we say, otherwise it's not going to go good for you. Essentially,
my friend of mine, I think you did you meet them? No, probably not. Anyway, knows someone who's a vicar in the Anglican Church, and this fella, he seems to be just totally into the dressing up side of it, the cosplaying. Those lovely robes. Oh yeah, he's always posting pictures of himself in different robes, but that's not really the point. Parading around in robes. Yeah, that's just the ceremony. You don't need to wear a bejeweled robe.
At some level, it's always it's just a power play anyway. It's like, look at me, I'm up on stage and I've got these glorious robes. Again, it shows that they're not really practicing what they're freaking supposed to be preaching. You don't need a rich robe to prove to show your love to something you believe in.
Take the robe, go out onto the streets, give it to a homeless.
Yeah.
yeah.
That'll be a laugh, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? Another shout out to the All or Nothing show with Billy Moore. That guy is an ex-druggie, an ex-fighter. I think from his own words, or from his own lips, sorry, he says he was a rough guy. He was a nasty piece of work. He now has seen the other side. He's in a relationship with a child. He's not into drugs. He was also, by the way, in one of the hardest prisons over in Bangkok or something like that. And anyway, he's a rough old bloke sort of thing. And now he goes out in the streets talking to the homeless. He's the most humble, nice. Again, I think those are the people to me that represent great Christian values, not the people in the robes in the church on a Sunday taking in the coin from the local poor people. That's not godly.
There's a place in Suffolk, a church in Suffolk, because I don't know if you know, you probably do, but the churches used to charge a tenth of your harvest, and that's why you see big old barns round in Suffolk. I think I pointed some of them out. They were called tithe barns. There's a place where they've put a protest sign outside the churchyard against the tithe of taking 10% of poor people's crops, and the inscription is on the other side, facing the church as a rebuke. So one day I'll visit that place.
So
Yeah.
Billy Moore. Yes, interesting character.
Very, very interesting character, actually. I really love, I've got into watching him on a Sunday evening when I'm chilling out and I like to just calm down and stuff from the week, I suppose. Sunday evening, I watch his thing and he's a nice rough guy that goes and just talks to anyone. He just starts talking to anyone. And I think because of his nature of just walking up to people and talking to them, because he's got no fear in the world. He's an ex-half man who's come clean now, and that's the great strength of him, that he just goes up to these people that probably no one ever goes up to, no one says hello or anything to, and because he's the one that goes up to him, he gets the most heartwarming or tearful or whatever you want to look at it. He gets actual real stories from people, and I find it just really nice on a Sunday evening listening to him talking to the homeless people. And you get it. I mean, I was homeless myself, and so maybe there's a part of it that I reminisce. That the point of what I'm getting at, I suppose, long driftedly, is that there's some lovely people out there that are not out there because they want to be, and it can be the tiniest of mistakes or tiniest of things that have gone wrong in your, especially as a bloke. I met blokes out there that from middle class all the way down that just had something go wrong, and here they were on the streets begging, and you realize that we've screwed ourselves up so badly when we let people get to that stage.
Is he a Christian now?
I believe he is. I think he is, actually. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Did you know in last year, in 2024, 1,611 homeless people died on the streets or in temporary accommodation.
Good grief. Yeah.
That includes 11 children, apparently.
I genuinely, I met some all sorts of one of my memories is a nurse, and I just remember she was homeless. She was a nurse crying her eyes out because she couldn't. We used to use the public toilets to wash and stuff, and there came a time where they locked the doors so that the homeless couldn't use the toilets for that reason. So, and she couldn't clean herself, and she was crying on the streets going, I don't know how to go to work tomorrow. I haven't had a wash for a week. They're starting to say I'm smelly. And I just, again, I often still reminisce, and it still makes me want to cry, that there was a nurse living on the fucking streets, fucking couldn't even wash herself in the most degrading of ways on the streets anyway. And it really does, it reminds me that we're so messed up. We really are
so messed up.
A lot of people on the streets, not all of them, but there are a lot of people on the streets who are there because of mental illness.
That's the other one that breaks my heart. It's mostly that. And again, it's not their fault. It obviously, it's not your fault that things have gone so wrong that you've got, or you were born with severe, the amount of autistic people that are on the streets is that's criminal as well. Yeah, the amount of autism I saw out there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And drug abuse. I mean, again, whether that brought them to the streets or they did it because they were on the streets. I often say I was an alcoholic, but don't knock us when you've got nothing. Trust me, a nice warm beverage is as in an alcoholic beverage to make your brain rot away, or a quick injection into the veins. I don't think people have been to the lowest forms of their own life to understand what it takes for people to want to do that, to get rid of the days. It's not something.
Yeah.
I always look at these people and I think that's someone's freaking daughter, that's someone's freaking son, that's someone's brother, maybe sister, whatever. And we shouldn't let that happen to any human being. Billy Moore,
totally shouldn't. We totally shouldn't. Well said.
He was Billy Moore again, going very, very quickly, and then I shut up. He was talking to a guy. I think it was last Sunday that I was listening to. The guy was in his 70s, and he'd been homeless for 50 years. It was one of those ones that sort of brought a tear to my eye. Like a man, you could tell he wasn't. What's the? I don't need to be polite. He wasn't firing on all cylinders, but he'd been homeless for 50 years. That is not. I can't be proud of my country if we've got men that have had to live on the streets for 50 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It makes you realise that what you've got sometimes as well. You know, we're going to have to pull this out of the gutter, gentlemen. But yeah, it makes you realise what you've got when you see some people's lives and you think, I moan and I complain about stuff, but I've got a roof over my head. Every day I've got food in my mouth. That, again, I'm not trying to be all Yoko Ono or anything, but there's people that don't have that, and it's heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah, I know. And all around the country, asylums, which are not necessarily great all the time, but they've all been shut and turned into luxury flats. So where do people go? Where do people find communities?
Yeah.
You know, they weren't all good. I know that. But, there was at least some degree of support.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I know as well. I know. Well, I don't know either, but you're right. Really, in a way, we forget, and it's all this. It's just there has to be a way of stopping this mad consumerist rush. This want, never satisfied, being sold this dream. We want this, want that, want. We want things that are told that we never thought we needed, that we don't really need. But we go out and get it because we're told that we need this to, bedizening your body, covering it with clothes and makeup and, well, not so much me, but but
come on, good, come clean.
Oh God! All right, and
yeah, but to a certain extent, it wasn't our fault, and it's another way to to stop the war with each other and with everyone is that we have to realise all of us as a collective, we were sold a lie, we were brainwashed, we were confused, it isn't all our fault.
No.
It's just an understanding that we have been controlled, and rather than, as I always say, I've always been that guy that gets up and fights. I've been a stupid, but it's not that time now. It's that realization that no, they've just controlled us because we've been stupid. We haven't been thinking like we should be thinking. Each and every single one of us. We shouldn't have let it get this far.
No,
I mean, we've just been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed. All of us, even us three talking about it and pointing it out. Even we've succumbed to it as well. It's inescapable. You live in this modern world, this modern Western society, and it's inescapable. You just, unless you actually completely detach yourself from it.
Which is almost impossible in a country like Britain, where we are overcrowded, and we are controlled, of course. And I'm not blaming people. There's social pressure as well. It's pumped out at us all the time. Get this, get that, and you get it. I mean, I'm looking at my books and thinking, well, am I a victim of all this as well? Why am I just, am I just another mindless consumer? Instead of buying makeup or fancy clothes or whatever, I buy books, and I'm just thinking, that's a kind of consumption, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is in another way, and it's not as. But that's it. That's what Bron said. We've all been led down the wrong path.
Yeah, but you can't avoid consumption. We all need to consume something or other.
Oh yeah,
we all need food. We all need kind of shelter, and books are. I don't think that's a problem at all. We've had books for thousands of years, or
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's only recently that we find ourselves in this really dire situation. So it's I guess it depends on what type of books. If they're books you can learn from and enrich your mind, then that's all well and good.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that people don't read books anymore.
Yeah.
That's more of the problem, and it's all
Yeah.
about money. Everyone is just obsessed with money and material gain. And well, as I mean, the three of us we're not youngsters anymore, and as you get older, you kind of realize just how short life is, and you do realize just how the whole thing about materialistic, possessing things is really it's really not what you think it is. When you're younger, you think, oh yeah, I've got to have this, I've got to have that, I must have this, I must get on in life. And you get older and you kind of think it's just, life is so short and you can't take any of it with you.
No.
Hang on. I mean, we're sounding like Klaus Schwab now. We're
Oh,
saying, "Oh, nothing, and you will be happy." Honestly.
well, that's the new economic model, that you rent stuff. But I have to quickly say that life is short indeed, but it's the longest thing you will ever experience in this incarnation.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe we do need a collapse of the financial system. Maybe we do need a collapse of society. I know that's that's not going to be good for anyone. But to kind of reverse all of this, how can you do it? I mean, that would be the short, sharp shock tactic. I mean, it may be attainable, but it would have to be a slow reversal over a long period of time, and you need the right people in place and the right people guiding it. And we certainly don't have any of those at the moment.
No, we've just got terrible. We're all three of us are smarter than these people. In that sense, that what the hell? They must be. They are receiving orders from financial masters.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is, I'll come back. I've got to pop out to the little room, but I will say that
leave us with a cliffhanger, is he?
The cliffhanger is that we have this thing called the Chess Club. You know about this. Every month we meet up, mostly people from Stand, and we got to talk about, and I think I mentioned this. We began to talk about crypto.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it got really interesting. It got really, really fascinating, because when you're talking about crypto, you are talking about money. You're talking about money. And then we got into central bank digital currency, and I'll leave it there, but it got really, really, to me, really fascinating. I mean, crypto, you're making money from nothing. And in a sense, that's what the economic system now does. It's producing money from nowhere through quantitative easing, through,
well, yeah, they're just printing money with nothing behind it. So it's effectively a bit of paper with some ink on it. And it's given.
That's right.
They're just manufacturing value out of thin air to place on these things.
Totally. It's a conjurer's trick, isn't it? It's a conjurer's trick. I'll be back in a second, gents.
Right. Well, that'll be an opportune moment to change the subject. It's been getting a bit grim. I'm starting to feeling a bit down. I think, but this may not actually be much better. But I was just going to bring up probably not a lot. It's probably passed under the radar of a lot of people, but the Conservative Party had their conference this last week.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really much to report from it. But Kemi Badenoch, her big thing was the Tories are going to abolish stamp duty. It's like, yeah, great. Okay. So that'll be at least 10, 20 years before you even have a chance of getting back into power. So that was nothing. But Robert Jenrick has come out. He's the shadow, secretary of I can't remember. I don't know what his actual title is, but he's a member in the Conservative Party. And he's been coming out, and there's quite some interesting things recently. I don't know if you came across it, but he went to Birmingham and he made a comment about how there was no white faces anywhere.
He's interesting. He is. Yes, yeah, I was in. Yeah, and I did see some bits about that. I don't know. Recently, he has come out with some bold things. He was also the one that did the whole going in the underground and getting people that weren't paying the tickets, I believe. But when you look into him, he's and I haven't looked into him enough to make any comments here. But I know that I don't. I want to look into him because he sounds very dodgy. There's lots of things going around about him. He's the ex-forces guy as well, isn't he?
I'm not sure actually, but there is a point about him which I wanted to make because
go.
Do you remember back in August, JD Vance came over here?
Yeah.
And he met with Jenrick. He didn't meet with the leader of the Conservative Party, but he met with Robert Jenrick.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I forgot.
And it was ever since then that Jenrick started coming out with all this stuff and pointing out all these really kind of based things. And I know there's stuff in Jenrick's past. I can't remember the details now, which I've actually thought, this guy, he's not to be trusted. And I'm not saying I trust him now, but it does seem to me, I wonder if there's a connection there with his meeting with JD Vance, because JD Vance has been of the Trump administration, he's been the one who's commented most on the problems we have in the UK with regards to immigration and free speech. He's been the most vocal about it. And now Jenrick met him in August, and now Jenrick is starting to push out those same narratives as well. So
that's interesting, because I thought he wasn't to be trusted because he suddenly changed his ways. But if there is a possible reason for that, then that is another look at it. Yeah. So thanks for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, it's like the Tories are finished at the moment. They're never going to get. They're not going to get back into power for a long time, even if they do. So they can pretty much say anything they want at the moment, anything that sounds great. So it's it's not going to make any difference. But I just thought that was quite interesting. I saw that link there between him and JD Vance, and I thought, I wonder if there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Because was he talking about immigration as well? He was talking about something else. He wasn't just talking about.
No, he's talking about integration.
Yeah, integration, but there was something else as well, which I thought was quite interesting. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
No, I think he has been talking on immigration, and I think he has been sort of saying the kind of things that we want to hear people saying. But yeah, and his name wasn't really that known until relatively recently.
Well, he ran for the Conservative Party leadership after Sunak went, and he lost to Kemi Badenoch.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And that was
Actually,
it. Yeah,
no,
it was since then. That's when he first really, I think, sprung into the public consciousness. Yeah,
no, actually, I'd forgotten that totally. Yeah,
What is encouraging though? What is encouraging is, people are now openly talking about the immigration problem in this country, the illegals, the boats. They're talking about the whole raise the colours, the flags things, and now even the problem with Islam is starting to be openly discussed. And that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that was absolutely taboo. Nobody could talk about that, but now it is starting to be spoken about, and acceptable discussions. It's acceptable to discuss these things. It's slowly starting to change. It is slowly starting to change. So I find that quite encouraging.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we opened the show talking about, was that these people going out there chanting these ridiculous, disgusting, grotesque things and having the placards. Yes, we're a country of free speech and all the things that I still value and stuff, but not that. That's not the English way, and it is quite disgusting what's happened to our streets in London. The way that I think it's twice a week now you've got some kind of march for some other country. It's nothing to do with us. We've never had it before, and I don't want it anymore.
Well, ever since October 7th, there have been continuous protests in London, especially pro-Palestine. Okay,
Mm.
continuous. I mean, I can tell you, it's been almost every single weekend, and even some weekdays. There's been some protest or march going on for pro-Palestine, and it's like yeah, free speech, freedom, freedom to demonstrate and protest. That's fine, but that I think, when it's continuous like this, it's like, okay, this is getting ridiculous now. First of
Yeah.
all, it really is whipping up hatred against innocent Jews, and they're being very open about it now. They're not afraid to voice their views on this. But secondly, it's like, okay, you can protest, but there should be a limit. You should only be allowed to protest for one cause. Within there should be within a certain time period, you're only allowed to protest so many times.
Yeah, the
Um,
government are bringing that in. Don't worry.
no, it's slightly different.
They'll sort
Yeah,
it out.
yeah, no, they are, but they're not going to use. They're going to use it to shut down protest across the board.
Of course they will. Do you know the new plan is if you've been on one protest, you can't go on another one.
Yeah,
How are they going to enforce that?
Well,
I mean, really,
I don't know. I see these. I see these Pally protests as being useful to government in order to clamp down on all protests. So, and I get what you're saying as well. I get what you're saying, and it's mostly middle class people with luxury beliefs who do this. For us who stand up for freedom, then it's a bit harder, because we're not rich. We can't take time off from work,
Well, what they need to do, because they have come out and they've outlawed Palestine Action, okay, and certain things are slogans and what have you are outlawed, terrorist sympathies and stuff like that, and they still go ahead, and and recently over the last few weeks they've started arresting people, but what happens? You don't hear anything else. It's like, oh yeah, so many arrests at pro-Palestine march. And it's like, then you hear nothing else. It's like, so what happened to those people? Are they being charged? Are they being sent to prison? No, they're probably just being released.
Yeah, of course they are.
Because we already know that they don't have any rooms in prisons except for people who post stuff on social media.
Well, if you watch any of the live streams that cover these things, because there's some great people. In fact, another great call out for a young girl. Speaks freely. ESPEAKSFREELY. He speaks freely. There's loads of them out there now. They were filming them getting arrested. They take them around the corner and then they de-arrest them. It's just a show. It is just an absolute, and it's only old people that they arrest. All the young people screaming. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so it's just white middle class liberals, old hippies.
Well, no, but I mean that you've still got the young violent ones. They're still there, but they're not the ones that get arrested. It's the ones quietly sat down that get arrested, and that's again, that's a show. They're saying, look how peaceful they are, because they're not arresting the ones that should be arrested.
Yeah, the ones that should be arrested are a front. They're probably they're actors, basically, crisis actors, whatever.
Yeah, well, what they need to do, I mean, it's okay. They outlaw Palestine Action, fair enough. But if they want to stop these, because these are not organic protests, these are all funded and organized. They need to go to the source and stop the funding if they really want to stop these.
Well, how can the state do that when they're funding them?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think probably. It's probably these NGOs. NGOs are the curse of modern day. I think.
One of many.
Just so nefarious.
Yeah.
Well, this is why citizen journalism is so important. Because if we go back to the BLM riots in America, there was a lot of citizen journalists that were picking up the fact that it was the government vehicles driving around with placards for the people to come and take and start parading with. So, the proof that the government were leading it was all the police departments as well. I think there was videos of police cars tipping up with placards in the back for them to start marching again. And it's starting, as I say, it's starting to happen here. There's loads of great citizen journalists. The emperor has no clothes. It's all coming down everywhere. It is. That's why life looks so crap at the moment. I think is because all of the shadowy things are coming down. We're starting to see how bad it's got. But
yeah, I mean, look what's happening in the US. Okay, they're sending in troops, National Guard, into these cities. And they've outlawed Antifa, which is a really good thing, but they're also going after the funding as well, which opens a whole new can of worms. Because I think I think they designated them as a domestic terrorist organization, but I think I read that Trump has now designated them an international terrorist.
Oh, I was just going to say that because Marco Rubio was saying today, or Trump had asked Marco Rubio, do you think we should make this an international problem? And I suddenly thought, oh, the implications of that are far-reaching as well. It means they are trying to get to the dark money.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they do go after the international funding for these organizations, it's not just going to be America it affects. It's going to be everywhere they operate. Which could mean this country as well. So that's quite a positive move, I think, as well, because that money, it's they cut off the funding, and a lot of it will dry up. I
mean, MI5 and MI6 are getting worried at the moment, I reckon.
Yeah, it should be.
It's complicated. It's in dispute, but there is. Government strategies there's one called the strategy of tension. It's Italian. It's a political policy where violent struggle is encouraged, and the purpose is to create a feeling of insecurity, just trouble, worry, nervousness in the population. So therefore, pushing people to seek security in a strong government.
Yeah.
Gladio. Operation Gladio as well. So, okay, it does exist, but it's kind of disputed by various peoples. There's the Bologna railway bombing, which is a famous or infamous moment in Italian history.
Anything that promotes violence needs to be immediately shut down and stopped. And we're starting to see that now. We're starting to get people saying that violence is justified against their opponents.
Yeah, I know.
Which is this is very, very concerning. And it's almost becoming like these people are not afraid to say it now because nothing's being done about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe something is being done about it. Let's hope it is.
There's a whole theory called accelerationism as well, and a practice where, in order to bring about a new order, you accelerate a decline. It's part of transhumanism, but it calls for the intensification of processes.
Well, that's what's happening, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's obvious that's what's happening because everything is accelerating. It is. Absolutely.
And this is across left and right wing ideologies as well.
Yeah, I mean, the left right thing is just a smoke screen now anyway. The real enemy is globalism. And it is the globalists who pretend to be either left or right which are pushing this. But like you've said before, it's like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The harder they push, the more feathers are going to get ruffled of those who they are pushing, and there's going to be a pushback, more of a pushback. People are going to start standing up and rejecting it. So,
for sure,
which is what is happening. It's that time of the week again for Viv's bookshelf. Viv, what have you been reading this week?
I've been reading about an important date in history called in 1853. Now, inhabitants of what was called Edo, which is now called Tokyo, in 1953, they were going about their business and they noticed four huge ships appearing in the harbor of Edo, which is now called Tokyo. And these were American ships who'd come in to enforce free trade on Japan, which had been a closed society since, late 16th, early 17th century. The Japanese were really advanced technologically in the 16th century. They had rifles, early rifles, and the Japanese realized that they were being overtaken by what they called merchants. So they kicked all the foreigners out. They kicked all the Christians out. They closed. It became a closed society. Basically, and interestingly, in that feudal closed society, the lowest class were merchants. They're the highest class now, but they were the lowest class in Japan when it became closed. And when the black ships arrived, these were merchants. Essentially, why did the Japanese put merchants as the lowest class in the Japanese social hierarchy? Because they didn't produce anything.
Well,
They're a middleman.
These international merchants, were they?
No, just general merchants. Just a merchant class, which is the highest class now. But no. The Japanese, the closed Japanese system put merchants down as the lowest.
What was that?
Yeah, book? I mean, it stands to reason. So, Bronze has got a shop. I make shirts. Bronze is the merchant selling my shirts. He's not really doing anything other than waiting for someone to walk in the shop and buy it. He doesn't. He doesn't produce any wealth. He doesn't. You could, but the argument is that if he wasn't there to sell it, the wealth wasn't made. But really and truly, no, it is just a merchant is just a passer on. It's just a middleman.
Yeah, but if you make shirts, what's the point of making shirts if you can't sell them?
Sell them yourself. You sell them yourself. Sell them yourself.
Then you become the merchant.
No, you become.
No, you're not. Then are you?
You've got your own shop, workshop, and in French atelier, and what you make in the shop in the workshop is also sold.
Because if I make shirts and I sell shirts, when I introduce myself to you at some funky night, I don't say, "Oh yeah, I'm a merchant. I sell shirts." I tell you, I'm a seamstress. I make shirts. You're not gonna call yourself a merchant, are you?
A seamstress. Have you changed your
gender? It was the first thing that came into. I couldn't think of what you called when you're a male who makes
tailor. You're a tailor, aren't you?
A tailor, yeah.
A tailor, that's the word.
Yeah.
No, gentlemen, I want to be a seamstress.
I identify as a seamstress.
Yeah.
I want to change my name to Loretta.
Loretta. I knew that was in my head as soon as I'd said that.
You can't do that, Stan.
Where would a fetus gestate? Anyway. Some of the funniest lines ever written were in that film.
Really talking books, Viv, those books you lent me. I started reading that book by Michelle Welbeck, Submission.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. I mean, it's well written, but I kind of feel he didn't really get to grips with the main theme of the book, which was about the Muslim Brotherhood winning the French elections.
Yeah. Well,
it's mostly about his personal life and his sexual encounters, really. And
so far, it is so far. I know. I mean, Welbeck is his sex scenes are pretty brutal and disgusting.
I kind of felt that there was a bit pointless. It's like, why are you going into the description of all your sexual encounters? It's like, what relevance does this have to the story?
Because and it shows the emptiness of his life. Later on, one of the reasons why he converts to Islam is because they tell him, "Oh, you can have more than one wife." And he thinks, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, well, I haven't finished the book. I'm quite near the end, so I haven't quite
That's
got
not
to
a
that.
spoiler. That's not a spoiler, but
No, that's all right. I don't mind. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed. The whole thing about Muslim Brotherhood winning the French elections seemed to be a subplot rather than the plot. And I thought that would be the main gist of the book. And it wasn't. It isn't. And I thought,
it is a novel. It is a novel focusing on a kind of just an empty cipher, who's a modern progressive character, getting by.
It's an intellectual, isn't he?
He's an intellectual. He's a bureaucrat, and it shows his empty life and how, essentially, I suppose, how he would fall into this idea, because, you know, like all bureaucrats, as we often said, they get along to get along. So it suddenly, okay, because of the dangers of Marine Le Pen's, what are they called now? They're called something else now, aren't they? But anyway, National Assembly, is it now? I can't remember. Anyway, because the vote has been split and it all hangs on the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood make up the government, and therefore our anti-hero thinks, well, I'll just go along with this, and they persuade him, and he thinks, yeah, that's not so bad. And in a sense, it doesn't necessarily have to be Islam either. It could be some other dispensation, like National Socialism or communism. You know, you just join in. I mean, there's a great scene in The Lives of Others, that film. I don't know if you've seen that. I highly recommend that, about a Stasi member who's eavesdropping on supposed dissidents. And at the end of the film, and this doesn't spoil it either, once Germany has been reunified, he just, okay, he's a fanatic in the Stasi. He believes in the whole the communist ideal, but then it all changes. Germany's unified, and he thinks, "Oh, I'll go along with that," and he gets a job in the new democratic government. You know, so I suppose it's kind of a bit like that as well, except with the twist. But I do know what you mean. But it is a novel, and it is focusing on one anti-hero, this poor, sad character who's shagging prostitutes and gorging on fast food.
Yeah. I mean, maybe my expectation was slightly off, but
yeah, I know. I mean, if you want,
sorry, go on.
I think if you want to read a really heavy book, apparently I haven't read this, but there's another French novel called Camp of the Saints, which is about essentially boat people completely flooding Western Europe, and Western Europeans welcoming them. Now, it has been criticised. Yeah, of course. So I don't know. I can't speak from experience. I haven't read it.
Yeah, I do find submission slightly depressing.
Well, it's meant to be, isn't it? I mean, it's meant to be. Welbeck is the prophet of. He's not offering much hope, is he?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's just saying this is, if this happens, then everything's just going to go along with it. Basically, that's kind of what he's saying.
What he's saying. Yeah, exactly. That's what he's saying. I mean, but we must remember Welbeck he's got in a hell of a lot of trouble. He had to bloody leave France. He had a price on his head.
Really?
Well, for some of his books, Submission came out the day before. I think a few days before, after perhaps the Charlie Hebdo slaughter.
Right.
And he was friends with the Charlie Hebdo people. And he just freaked out when this happened. He thought, and he went off to Ireland in exile. I think he may be back in France now.
Right.
But yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
No, I've enjoyed reading it. It's a good read. But like I said, maybe my expectations were a bit off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, previously he's dealt with things like sex tourism. It's all about the collapse of the West into total materialism, individualism, and just unbridled hedonism, and how it's hollowing out the values of the West, and therefore new values are sought. suppose the new values appear in a political change in this sense, and it's given. Maybe it is optimistic for this person. He's found a bit of, in a way, a purpose by becoming not. I mean, God, yeah, it's bleak as hell, isn't it? I should have warned you, but Welbeck is bleak as hell.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's to a certain extent, but yeah, I just let's pray that we never get to that point.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Because we do not want that. That is not a good outcome.
No.
But anywho, so what else has been happening? Anybody else got anything they want to bring up?
I did have a couple of other. I was going to briefly say I thought it was disgusting that the Diddy case came to a final judgment, and he got 4 years, just 4 years in prison. I think a lot of the charges got dropped, and he was it 4 things he got done for in the end, but it amounted to just 4 years, and I just find it quite disturbing, I suppose.
Well, it's par for the course these days, isn't it? Oh yes, that was just to go back to Generic. That was the other thing that he was talking about, was the corrupt judiciary. That was the thing he brought up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which kind of links on to this, the Diddy outcome and the whole situation in general, is how, all these judges can't be trusted to be impartial and to deliver proper justice. And I thought that was very interesting that he was coming out with that. The Generic was coming out saying, and he actually named certain judges who had links to these open borders groups and political affiliations. So I thought that was quite encouraging. But yeah, the Diddy case, it's. I mean, I think that's an argument to be said where people are talking about. We know these people have committed all these crimes, all these high-profile figures. Why have there been no arrests? And I think a good argument for that is because they've got to sort out the corrupt judiciary. Otherwise, there's no point arresting these people and then them just getting off on light sentences because the judges are not doing their job properly.
Yep. I urge you to follow on Substack. There's a writer called JJ Starkey, and he's well into exposing these people. He puts out freedom. I've been mentioning before. Puts out, I'm not sure, but anyway, JJ Starkey, he does freedom of information requests. He looks at the background of judges who are dealing with immigration cases, all sorts of cases, and without exception, it's extraordinary. They're all ex-members of NGOs, open borders groups, etc. So of course they're going to rule that you can't deport someone, even though they're a rapist or a terrorist. Because their children don't like chicken nuggets that are served abroad. They're used to British chicken nuggets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these things should be just dismissed immediately. These arguments. It's a whole human rights lawyer industry which has sprung up, which is just crippling everything.
Yeah, and my view of human rights, so I won't go into that again. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think. It's not so much human rights in its purest form. Every human has rights. I think it's just the legislation which has all been built up in the name of human rights. I think. Am I correct in saying that's what you don't believe in?
That's correct. Yeah, I believe in the natural rights because if rights are given, they can be taken away or they can be interpreted in certain ways that are in service to power.
But we have certain inherent rights as human beings which are not given to us by any other human or
that's right,
any law, any legislation.
That's correct.
Can't be taken away.
That's what I believe. Yep.
Oh geez. But yeah, so sorry
to just to talk about I've come to this horrible conclusion that central bank digital currency is almost inevitable. They're going to crash the system. There's nothing much they can do otherwise. They can't service even the interest on the debt. So they need to just wipe the slate clean, a complete reset of the next economic system, and it will be based around digital currency. Now, it struck me that we can use this against them by looking at basically crypto. Crypto is absolutely fascinating. It's a minefield, but it's absolutely incredible. Government can't get into crypto. They can if you sell it in large amounts, but there's ways around this. There are people who've made absolute fortunes with crypto. People say, "Oh, it's too late," but no. Something like XRP is rocketing in value, and it will continue to rocket because governments have adopted XRP, right, which is a cryptocurrency.
Yeah. It'd be nice to know where to start because I mean it would seem if you want to start investing in crypto and you don't have a great deal of money, that none of us have a great deal of money, but you can still sort of just put a little bit in here and there, buy a little bit here and there, okay, and that would be a sort of a reasonable thing to suggest. But where do you start? This is the problem.
I'll go and tell you, because we
who
had
do
a
you
lecture.
trust and where do you start? Are there reputable
Yeah.
Sort of vendors or suppliers in this UK base that we can trust? And
Yes, there are. Yes. Well, as reputable as anything will ever be. I'll pop out for a minute. I'll be back in a second. I'll read out the top ones that have been recommended by an experienced crypto trader who gave us the lecture on Monday. So bear with me.
All right.
I think from my point of view, as I've often said, it's too. I don't understand computers very well anyway. And in fact, the situation that I've got going at the moment, as I was saying to you guys, that I've just had a tooth out. I'm really sore, and the other day I realised I didn't really have anything soft to eat, and I didn't want anything hard because I'm a real wimp. Once my tooth's been taken out, it's horrible, and I just wanted something like soup or something really soft that I could just drink down and it wouldn't annoy my teeth. Anyway, I went to the local shop, got a basket full of stuff, went to the checkout, pulled out my card, went to pay. The card's not getting registered. We tried about 6 or 7 times. Clearly my card wasn't working, so I got frustrated, had to leave the shop in there and walk home. And because I'm not very good with computers, I'm looking on I've got the app for my particular bank. I couldn't find anywhere on this app to ask or get a phone number or to talk to someone and tell them what I needed. So I have to go to their AI chatbot thing, and we've all used these. They're frustrated. They don't really understand what you're trying to say. All I wanted to do was order a new card. Anyway, long story short is that was on Tuesday. We're now on Thursday. I hopefully I'm going to get a new card sent to me tomorrow, but I can't even get on a local bus to go to the bank to talk to them because my card doesn't work, and you can't get onto buses without cash with cash anymore. It's why I'm unlike both of you. I've got no time for cryptocurrency. I think it's a spawn of the devil. I think it's worse than real money because it's still just ones and zeros on a flash card that if you lose that flash card, you've lost your entire bank account. What's the point in that?
True, but so is but so is cash, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose cash, you lose cash. If someone breaks into your house and nicks all of your precious metals, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
we have insurance for things like that, but no, I mean just on a basic level. That in the old days, you get paid money and you can take that money out in cash. Then you've got, if I've got silver, I can still go out and there'll be someone that will buy that silver off me for some product. But with crypto, well, number one, you've got to understand computers well enough to be able to invest in that kind of thing anyway, or understand that and choose the right company. And number two, you lose that flashcard, and I lose things all the time, and you've lost you there's no way of getting it back, because it's the way crypto works. It's a
Well, there must be safeguards. There must be safeguards. I mean, just because you lose your card, if you lose your card, it's just like if you lose your bank card, then you can't get any. You can't use that.
No. See, that's the that's the difference, because it's a tally. Well, the way crypto works is I have something, I sell it through crypto. Then some ones and zeros are created as I sell it to you. Then you sell a product onto Viv. Some more ones and zeros. All crypto is, at its very fundamental point, is a tally of where an amount of money has gone. In this case, it's cryptocurrency.
Yeah, but okay, here's the difference. Okay, I mean that works in your normal banking system. That somebody is collecting that data, but crypto is decentralized. It's open source.
Exactly. So if you lose,
none of that is trackable.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's great for that. But if you lose your flashcard, you've lost your bank account. That's what I mean.
No, don't lose flashcard then.
Yeah, well, if you lose your debit card, you don't lose your bank account, do you? You just lose your card.
But you do with crypto. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm pointing out. Yes, you lose everything.
You could be scammed by crypto, of course. But crypto is essentially you're not buying and selling.
No,
you're investing.
Well, see, you're investing. Yeah, you're not buying it. You are. You're creating. See, all you're doing is creating ones. You're creating data. That's all you're doing. I wonder. I've often thought, is there a reason for that we don't understand? But all you're doing is creating data. That's all it is.
But so is banking. It's zeros and ones now. I mean, look.
Yeah.
Put it this way. If, as I'm beginning to be convinced, unhappily, that they will introduce central bank digital currency, what are we going to do? What are we going to do then?
That will inevitably mean doing away with cash. And
yes, that's right.
And if they do away with cash and all we got is a central bank digital currency, then we are screwed. But if you've got Bitcoin, then you do have an option, which is not going to be controlled by central bank digital currency.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making a case for crypto, but I did change my mind this lecture, and I thought it was so good. And you know the person who did this lecture, so you've met them. I mean, look at Bitcoin has gone from 2013. Okay, it's risen. It's risen to absolutely incredible heights. Now you can't buy a Bitcoin, but you can buy parts of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And you just leave it. You leave it. Now government will find out that you've got this if you take a load out and sell it. But if you just leave it in, you can take out little bits that are under the radar. Then you're okay.
Same with gold and silver, though, mate.
True.
Yeah, but gold and silver.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I mean, with something like Tally, you can convert gold and silver into something you can actually use for transactions. I presume Bitcoin is the same. But what how many things? I think that Bitcoin is a lot more accessible than gold and silver for using for general purposes.
The ones that are recommended they're all ISO 20022 compliant cryptocurrencies in this year. XRP is being adopted by governments for fast, low-cost cross-border payments. That is pretty safe. Once they do this, once the governments get into this, the value of XRP is going to rocket, and it is an investment. You can use it to pay for things. There are like another person that you've met has met someone who's producing cards now without, and they're not trackable cards. I mean, Bitcoin, right? It. Let me see. It's now going to cost you for one Bitcoin. It's going to cost $120,516. Now, if you bought it years ago, well, you buy it for a few dollars.
Oh, 10 quid. I was saying with the guy that was trying to get me into it about 10 years ago, he was talking about getting a tenner to get a tenner. I could have been a multi-millionaire if I'd listened to him.
Yeah, you could.
Well, Viv, I mean, what I need you to do is to post up these sites where where I can actually look into buying some.
Yeah, well,
always remember as well that when you've got currency or gold or silver or property, you've got something tangible. The problem with one of the biggest problems for me is there's still nothing tangible with your currency that you're talking about. And if I look around and if I let off, if the whole country say went to, as Viv was saying, he thinks that it will definitely go to a centralized digital currency. The problem with that is if they did that, any country could just launch an EMP and they can completely wipe out the country's monies. You can't do that when it's tangible money. Do you get me?
But when you talk about currency, what is tangible? You can say gold and silver is tangible, sure.
It is.
But if you want to use it for purchasing, it's going to have to be converted into a different form of currency to buy. So you can't just take a bit of gold to your local shop and say, "I want to buy a pint of milk. Here's a bit of gold." It doesn't. You actually
still legally can. You actually still
legally can. But how, how do you know exactly how much gold is going to be worth for that pint of milk?
The rate. True. The rate on the day. That's how you know the rate on the day.
I was going to say, you're not going to shave a little bit of gold off, are you, off of your little lump, and then take it into the shop?
No,
and they might just say no. I mean, shops these days are refusing cash. So if you take a little bit of gold, they're going to say that might just be a little bit of something painted gold. They're not going to accept it. So it still needs to be converted into some currency that they'll take. So essentially, anything of value is still going to be converted into what is essentially zeros and ones.
But I'd love to do a social experiment and take out some gold and take out some cryptocurrency as a social experiment and see how many shopkeepers will accept some gold and how many will accept some cryptocurrency. And I bet you only by today's standards, I grant you, but I bet you by today's standards, most shops would go, yeah, I'll take the gold. If they knew it was real gold and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but how are they going to know that, though? They've got to go through the process of knowing it's real gold.
Yeah, I reckon you'd still... I still think that.
No, yeah, I think more places will take crypto now because you can do it. It's all on your phone. You can, some places accept crypto payments.
Yeah, but there's so many different cryptos to get into. So if you've got one that I'm not trading in, I can't trade in it.
Well, yeah, but then there are ways around that. You want, as I say, you want ISO 222 compliant cryptocurrencies. XRP is the top one because governments are going to adopt it. When they adopt it, and they are already, the value will rocket as an investment. Then there's Cardano, which is a blockchain, a secure blockchain for smart contracts. And then there's Quant, Algorand, and Stellar. Those are the top 5, which have been recommended. This person who gave the speech opened my eyes because I used to think crypto, nah. But the way he explained it actually made sense, for the first time in my life.
Well, if you've got some website, Viv, if you've got some websites, please put them up.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. I'll talk to him next Sunday. But okay. I get what 4D's saying as well. But if we are going into central bank digital currency, which is totally overlooked, which is totally looked into and monitored and controlled by governments and financial institutions, then it makes sense. If that's what's happening, your pound note is not going to be accepted. We can see this happening already. So what are we going to do? We're going to go with the government, or we're going to go with untraceable crypto on a blockchain.
Yeah, but again, the only reason we're talking about, or people are talking about that, is because they tell us it's working. Again, I'm pretty sure it's a deep state. I don't know where they would get, where they would gain from it, but I think it's a deep state thing. I don't think it's ever going to.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think any country will ever take off with it.
What with central bank or crypto? I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean,
well, I'm prepared. I'm prepared to take the risk. I'm prepared to chuck a bit of money into crypto. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to break the bank, but you never know. And if I lose, then I'm not going to lose a great deal. But if I see it working, then I might chuck some more in. But the thing is, it's like, where do I start with that? That's the problem I have. It's like I don't know. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, where do you start and where do you stop?
Exactly.
That's the question. Do you stop when it's at a high?
And no, I think bronze means he doesn't eat. No, I think bronze means as in, what company do you go to? Who do you trust? Where do you?
That's what I'm saying.
Place to start.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you've got some websites which have been told are reputable, then post them up, and I'll go there and I'll buy a little bit. But I just don't know where to start. That's a problem for me right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what both of you are saying is valid.
Just don't put your dongle next to a magnet, because again, you just lose your bank account.
I know. I mean, the people that were talking, or the main person that was talking, but a number of other people suddenly chimed in and say, "Oh yeah, I got some crypto." Some people have had losses. All right.
Oh yeah.
So because it is an investment, and as they always say about investment, it can go up and down.
Well, a mate of mine has been scammed. He's lost a few £1,000s by investing in crypto scams.
Exactly.
So, but all these kind of these ones which suddenly appear and everyone's promoting them, and then it turns out to be a scam. But if you go for ones which are well established, like you say, I mean, Bitcoin obviously is very expensive, but that just keeps rising. Bitcoin, it keeps going up. XRP, if what you're saying, Viv, is true, if that looks like it's going to go up, then that might be worth a punt as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what we're saying here is very interesting. We've all got different views about this, and I do agree. I mean, maybe the answers. My point is, right. It suddenly struck me on Monday at Chess Club that they really, really need, the governments and financial institutions need to reset the economy, the world economy. To have central bank digital currencies. And I mean, central bank digital currency will be worldwide. If I must find that Augustine Carson video. It's absolutely amazing when he's talking about CBDCs years ago now. They badly want this. They, as I say, they can't service their debts. They're going to crash the economy, and they're going to put in central bank digital currencies all on your own, your digital wallet. And within that, they will, obviously, as we know, they'll use terrible things. They'll add things gradually. It'll be sold. At the moment, they're selling the brick card as a way to stop illegal undocumented immigration. But it will expand, as they always do. They can already, HMRC can already go into your bank account. They can go in and they can take money out. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. People on benefits have known that since they were on benefits.
Yeah. So my point is, what are we going to do to fight back? It's all very well going to the march, which I'm still going on. Although a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Viv, don't! It's a trap." Oh, and I could take that point as well.
Another quick one is like if we did go to centralized digital currency, surely the whole world would have to move. Well, I think it's something like 70% of the world isn't even connected, doesn't even understand computers yet. So it would be a ridiculous concept to think that it could take off worldwide. You'd need another 50, 60 years to get the world onto computers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the USA has got to buy into it. If they don't, it's not going to happen. Basically,
no, that's right.
So a lot could depend on what they do.
I know it's up in the air. I mean, the petition, which is pushing 3 million now, has been completely ignored. The 3 million, we're talking 5% of the population have bothered to sign it. There are millions more.
Did you see the government's answer to it? Did you?
Yes. What did they say? Remind me.
They basically said, no, we're going to go ahead with it. Basically,
basically sort of said, yeah, we can hear what you're saying, but we're going to do it anyway. Yep.
Yeah.
No, they didn't even say we can hear what you're saying. They just said, no, we're going to go ahead with it.
I think there was a slight acknowledgement that that it reached that number, but ridiculous. Such an arsehole answer, because it only takes 100,000 for it to be mentioned in Parliament, and there was about nearly 3 million.
I know. This gives the lie to the whole thing. So they're not going to debate it. It seems okay. Well, so what's the point of these petitions? Well, what some people have pointed out that might be that they are compiling a list of the naughty people.
Of course,
probably,
absolutely, yeah. But
as I say, people like us three, I think we've probably been we're too open with the way we are. I think we've been monitored for 10 years, probably longer, since we were born. You've been. Yeah, Viv, you've probably been monitored for a good 20, 30 years.
No, since I was born.
Well, unfortunately, you're probably right. Yeah.
When you get a birth certificate, that puts you that they create as I've said, they create an account or offshore account. Any transactions you go through, they take a cut. Any contract you enter into, they take a cut. That's why we're going for this sovereign individual. It may be mad, and it's worrying them because I noticed that the state mouthpiece, the BBC, has been talking about the sovereign individual movement and slagging it off, and that and that lovely face of conspiracy theory investigation, Mariana Spring, has been talking about it. That means that she's been primed to talk about this because it's a talking point. It's concerning them, that people are going towards sovereign individual.
Talking about monitoring, I'm just monitoring the time now. It's coming up to 10 o'clock. I would just like to chuck this in. I've just seen breaking news. Letitia James has been indicted.
Oh, really? Yeah. On the Trump thing stuff.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd chuck that one in there. But yeah.
And I really quickly, and so we won't talk about it, but I wanted to sort of say that Pam Bondi, she had a Senate hearing recently, and there were some great things being thrown out. She had a go at Schiff and said to him, how could he sit there after taking money from Jeffrey Epstein and the likes of, I think she mentioned someone else, I can't remember, and she did some. Oh, and the phone tapping of the US senators. Josh Hawley, is it? Was saying, Pam, are you going to let us know who it was who tapped my phone during and this is all stuff from the first Trump
administration.
She also
some great things going on with her at the moment.
Yeah, she also ripped into that guy Blumenthal, who was basically lied about his military service and got found out. And she just threw it right back at him about being honourable and and telling the truth. So that was quite entertaining.
She's great. She's great. She's quite it's almost quite sexy in a way. The way she's. I always love watching people that do command great power, and she's another one. When you watch her, the way she spoke to Adam Schiff, the way she spoke to Cory Booker, she has a great dismissive women. It's only this is another great thing that women can do much better than men. This dismissive way of putting you in your place, the way she just looks away from you at the right time in such a dismissive way that lets you know that she is in charge. And I almost getting quite aroused by her. She was great, powerful woman.
Yeah, calm down, 4D.
Yeah.
It did seem to take her a little while to warm up. She did seem a bit ineffective at first, but she does seem to be coming to the fore now, which is quite interesting, quite good to see. So yeah.
I take a bit of time to warm up. We'd be great together.
I said calm down. 4Ds in season.
Oh my God.
365 days a year.
Well, well, it's true. We've hit the 10 o'clock mark. Are we going to continue with Eric Morecambe, or is someone else going to take over? That's my question.
If you guys got anything more to talk about Eric Morecambe, then go ahead. Nothing
other than the fact that I watched some more of them while I was recuperating from this sore tooth. Saw a great one with Steve Davis, which really was making me laugh. But looking into, yes, they were. I was going to say they were like the first, and now I've forgotten the name. What's the name of the young bloke comedian couple that win every year at the BBC Awards thing?
Don't know what year you're talking about.
Every year they win, and they're a double act. I've ruined this. That was what I was going to say. I've forgotten who they're bloody Anton Deck.
Yeah.
They're like an early and much better version of Anton Deck, in as much as I think that's where Anton Deck must have got their thing, where they take the mickey out of famous people, because that's what Morecambe and Wise did, and they did it so much better. I think Bronze was saying how they always used to take the mickey out of Des O'Connor, and I watched a couple of those. And Des O'Connor's, again, another great. He's got a great sense of humour because he let them really take the mickey out of him. It's great. Not, and I don't mean brutally, I mean very hilariously taking the mickey out of him.
Yeah, they're not doing that American thing called roasting, which is really a bit nasty. It can be anyway.
Yeah, I mean that they had a lot of famous people on their show, and I think everyone who went on there knew exactly that they were going on there, and they were going to be have they were going to have the mickey taken out of them, and they were up for it, and because they knew it was all good natured, it was just fun. It wasn't anything serious or personal. And they did have some big names. They had some quite famous actors. They had like I mentioned before, they had I can't remember her name now.
I think any of the big names,
Michael Redgrave, Vanessa Redgrave, all of these type, a few lovies they had on. I think even they might have had Laurence Olivier on one time as well.
Larry, dear Larry.
It does seem that they were famous enough to have anyone that was famous of the time sort of on get involved with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that I just found interesting was because when we were reading up on who they were, and I'd read that he'd started off as a dancer, I was watching them and I suddenly thought, you can tell that he's started in dancing. He's a very good dancer, actually.
Yeah, brilliant.
Both of them.
Both of them, sorry. And they both started in dance school. That's how they met. So they both wanted to be in the dance world, but became comedians. But you can tell they're very good. And singing, that was... what was it? He was pretending that he couldn't sing. This was Morecambe again. And yet... Then they did, and I forget who they were singing with. He's got a great voice as well. So yeah, they were singing dancing legends that just became comedians.
Well, I think a lot of the comedians of that era, that's where they came from. They came from that, where they could do a bit of everything. They could dance, they could sing, they could act, they could muck around and tell jokes, and that just seemed to be in the DNA of a lot of the comedians of that era. That's just how they evolved. They came up from that start.
I suppose it's all just entertaining people. If you want to entertain people, you've got to... I suppose it makes sense that they were all singing, dancing, comedian type people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bygone era. I don't think we'll ever get the likes of them anymore these days.
No,
No, and as I say, I think Anton Deck were probably trying to copy them in a way. I can't stand them two, actually. But yeah, you won't get that sort of class of person again. Now it's all, as we've said with everything, it's now money anyway. It's not really entertaining people.
Yes, and also so many so-called entertainers these days are just so political. They're
Mm,
just,
mm.
and it's just like, you're not. I'm not interested in hearing your political views. Just make me laugh or entertain me, but stop just talking nonsense that I don't want to hear. If I want to listen to political views, I listen to someone in the political world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah, I
hear
mean,
this, but
most of us.
it started with. I mean, some of them were very, very funny, but the new wave of comedy which came up, and it kind of ended with that Ben Elton who'd just say Margaret Thatcher, and everyone would start laughing.
Yeah.
What's that? What the hell? You know.
And yet he was around some of the greatest, like the Blackadder lot and the Monty Python lot. He kind oh
Yeah,
no, Monty Python was before that, but
they're a
he was
bit
still
earlier.
around.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right. I mean, that lot would include people like the great Rick Mail, Aid Edmondson.
I was
Uh,
watching some Bottom the other day. Again, they are just so great at that absolute violence. And again,
I
I'm
know.
somebody, I don't like violence, but none of
Yeah.
it. It's so stupid that it's funny. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
slapstick, isn't it? I mean,
it's
Laura and
so
Hardy used to do that sort of stuff. They did
Yeah.
some pretty violent stuff as well in their comedy.
yeah.
So it's nothing new.
I used to crack up at the Three Stooges actually with that ultra violence, hitting each other with frying pans.
Yeah, kind of like Tom and Jerry. Them three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, it's alternative comedy. Started off well, but then it became alternative because it wasn't very funny.
Yeah, I mean, the Young Ones was very good. That was very funny.
Yeah,
And the same it was more or less the same crew who did the Comic Strip Presents series,
yeah, that's
where they
right.
did
Yeah,
all these parodies of things, and they were very good as well. But it was all
yeah,
the same crew, and they all tend to be kind of politically inclined, and
yeah.
that always seeped through one way or another. It was,
But it did take the piss. I mean, in the Young Ones, Rick Mayall's character was really, they really took the piss out of right on students before woke.
Yeah.
So the alternative comic scene was
Mm.
It started off well. I think went a bit downhill.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll probably pick a new one next week, and I think it's down to me. It's come back round to
Yeah,
me.
it is
But
you.
I'll have a think. I've got a few in mind. I've got to decide which one. So I shall unveil that next week when I
Yeah.
make a decision.
Nice.
Yep.
So yeah, who's got some jokes? Viv, obviously you don't. So,
That was brutal. That was brutal.
That was brutal.
The truth often is.
Oh God! Oh,
Go on, Viv. Prove me wrong. Have you got any jokes?
what's the ocean's favourite laundry detergent?
I don't know.
Tide.
Oh, of course.
I thought you were going to say surf.
Oh, surf. Yeah.
Oh, it could be. Yeah. Surf as well.
Yeah.
What did the sink ask if the toilet was feeling okay? Why did the sink ask if the toilet was feeling okay? Oh, that didn't start very well.
Was it looking a bit flushed?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, these are jokes for children.
Yeah, it's about our level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get that joke about the ceiling, by the way?
No,
It went right over my head.
Oh, why do I bother?
Did you hear?
No.
Oh, go on.
I'll give no. That's enough. That's enough.
Or did you hear that a psychic dwarf escaped from prison? The police have released a statement that there is a small medium at large.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, a bit slow, but yeah, I got that.
Knock.
Oh,
Go on. Who's there?
Says
Says
What?
who?
me.
God,
Next one.
God help us all.
Oh no.
You know, I just found out that watermelons are 92% water. In a completely unrelated news, I'm never eating another kumquat.
What? What? What the hell? Oh,
Knock knock.
Who's there?
who's there?
I am.
I am who?
I am. Who's knocking? Who are you?
Oh, what did the
Oh,
picture do? What did that picture do to end up in jail? Goodness sakes, eh?
he framed somebody or got framed.
No, he was nothing. He was framed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
sorry, I ruined
musical?
that one.
All right, yeah. No, all my jokes have been preempted. All right, I get that. Try this one in. What musical instrument can you find in a bathroom?
Don't know.
A tuba toothpaste.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Io.
I who?
Io me. Oh no, I've said that. Oh, I've done that all wrong now. Right, forget it.
It's actually funnier when you screw them up.
Yeah, I know. I like that. I like when it goes wrong.
All right, what's
You
the
say
difference?
I owe who, and I say me. When are you paying me back? That's all I had to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
even-
yeah. Yep.
All right, what's the difference between a piano, a tuna fish, and some glue?
Ooh, deep.
Don't know.
Deep. It's deep. This one.
This one's off the top of my head, so I'm not sure I've got it right. But you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Yeah, that's I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that one. I
Yeah.
know that one. What did the husband pen?
Hold on,
say
hold on, Viv. You've missed a bit out.
Yeah. What?
What about the glue? Yeah,
Okay.
people always get stuck on that one.
All right.
Oh.
Sorry, go on.
No,
carry
that's
on.
all right. Actually, that one. I like the comeback one as well.
Yeah, you meant to say,
Yeah.
what about the glue?
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'm too. Well, I don't know. I just didn't. Oh gosh, this is.
What
this
a
is-
state we're in. What a state
This is
we're in.
going as badly as always. What did the husband pen say to the wife pen?
Don't know.
You're always right.
Of course. Do you know why people living next to a cemetery can't be buried there?
No,
Because they're still alive, you idiot.
ooh, that's quite a good one. That's the kind of French philosophy type one. No.
Viv has to intellectualize everything now.
Oh, well, okay, right, guys. What races never run?
It's never run.
Yeah, what races never run?
The human race.
Yeah, you know that. Oh.
A student asked his teacher, Mrs. China, is that really your last name? She said, no, actually, that's my maiden name.
Processing that one. Mrs. China.
Made in, maiden.
Yeah.
That's my made-in name. Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Okay, my last one. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
This is who?
This is the police. Now open up. Right, there you go. That's it. Now I've done enough knock knock jokes.
Yeah, I think you have. Okay,
Yeah.
here's my last one. I met a beautiful woman at a bar last night. I felt a real spark between us. Well, I call it a spark. She called it a taser.
Yeah.
I'm laughing too much. That's all right, though. Yeah, I'm not going to give another one. All right, go on.
Yeah, I think that's it. Oh,
What did the hat say to the head?
Oh, Viv.
Oh God,
Go
I am
on,
on
go
a
on.
site. I'm on a. Okay.
I think I read all of these earlier. I think you've gone to the same
Yeah.
site that I looked at.
I've
Yeah,
got
go on.
you. I've got you covered, mate.
Oh, I thought it was you go on ahead.
There's that one as well. I am on a site. I'm reading these from a site called Entertain Your Toddler. You have to understand that. So
It's nice. It's nice you have such a high opinion of us and our listeners as well.
I've got a high opinion of. I've got a very low opinion of my joke ability. I've said all my best ones months ago.
Oh, should we wrap it up there then?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to go off, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm going to tend to my sore mouth and just, in fact, I'm going to go to bed. I think yeah.
Get some clove oil. That's supposed to be all right. Clove oil.
That is the best. I said I've been using a couple of things. One of and clove oil, I think, is the best one I was using. Actually, that numbs the whole mouth up.
Yeah. All right, mate. All right, matey.
All right, fellas.
Right. Yeah. Good night, gents, and speak to you next week.
Yeah. All the best. Bless you. Bless you all. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
Entertaining toddlers.
Oh, there we go, eh? God, blimey.
Yeah, there
Well,
we go.
That's a site I'll never visit again.